Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with AzChats number 69, Grant.
Giggity.
Giggity. Now, AzChats videos, folks, they're more podcasty type of videos opposed to a visual video, something for you to listen to and not necessarily see. And of course, when Grant comes on board, it means we're talking about a movie, very special movie for AzChats 69. It's the Warcraft movie.
Yeah, nothing big.
Not big, you know. It might as well have been an episode of Corrie, for all we knew.
Well.
And because this is an AzChats video, it may contain fruity language, i.e. language of an adult nature. Now, this is going to be the complete and utter spoilerific Warcraft chat. And we normally start these videos by giving a very brief, short, non-spoilery review. However, yesterday I actually did a full version non-spoiler review of Warcraft because of my channel and I thought it deserved it and such. So we're not going to be doing that. We're going straight into the spoilerific goodness.
Warnings.
Okay. So this is your final warning. This is your turn back before you go too far. Because we'll be going into characters, we'll be going into storylines, we'll be going to all the little twists and turns and such. If you don't want it ruined for you, and I know that it's not even out in America, I don't think, until the 10th of June.
Technically, it's not even out here.
I know, it's weird. I don't know, that's all over the place, isn't it? Sometimes it said 3rd of June, and then it was saying the 30th of May, and whatever. So yeah, we're going to go balls deep straight away. Now, I tweeted you yesterday, Grant.
Yep.
And we're back and forthing. And I got the feeling that you might not have liked the film as much as I did.
Well, okay, so I went to see the film last night, and upon my leaving the theatre, looked at my phone and saw that you'd done a spoiler-free review. So I thought, yeah, while I'm in the mood, I'll give it a listen. And you were far more generous than I expected you to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is good because this gives us, you know, if we were both coming from the same place. I think on a lot of the films we've done recently, especially with Civil War and Batman v Superman, we've been coming from very much the same place.
Yeah.
So this could be quite interesting and seeing where we differ, where our ideologies potentially alter trajectory with one another. But before we kind of go into that, because this is a podcasty type of video, we've got to procrastinate. And what were your kind of expectations going into the film?
Well, I guess that's a good place to start, isn't it? Because the thing that everyone was talking about in the run-up, as with most films, is the marketing, which, as you have discussed, as many other people have discussed, was a little bit of a shambles. It was misrepresented pretty badly by the trailers that were really weirdly edited and really weirdly scored with that weird dubstep music coming in. And the posters looked like they were designed by GCSE graphic design students. So, yeah, my expectations were it's a video game film, historically not great.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just looking forward to having a little bit of a indulgence into the fact that I've been playing Warcraft for almost as many years as you have, very casually though, and, you know, just absorbing myself in the lore and the big screen. And yeah, that is what I got.
I mean, I went in with, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to Duncan Jones, because I'm going to blow his trumpet left, right and centre, I promise you. But I went in with pretty low expectations.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
Yeah, and that was based off not what the critics had said, these couple of, you know, critical reviews which had come out. I wasn't bothered about per se. But it was because of the marketing. I thought the marketing was so bad, and the way that the footage had been edited together, the way that they had the terrible music in some of it, I didn't know what I was going to see.
It was really unclear, like, what tone they were going for.
Yeah, I was just like, are they trying to be farcical? You know, is this guy meant to be like fucking Orko from Masters of the Universe? I mean, I didn't know what was kind of like going on, so I really didn't know what to expect. And even when Duncan Jones came out on Twitter and was just kind of like, I'm just as confused as everyone else as to why they would use that music. This is not the music that's going to be used in the film. The music's got a brilliant score done by such and such. Why they didn't use that in the trailers, I do not know.
Yeah, and when a director's kind of confused about the marketing, it's not a show of good faith, is it?
No, it's a kind of a warning sign, and it makes you think, oh, God. I was kind of like really skeptical about what I was going to see. A redeeming light for me, though, was the fact that I was going to see a Duncan Jones film, because I'm a big fan of Duncan Jones. I really like Moon. I think Moon is a great movie, and I really, really liked Source Code as well, because not just because I thought it was a very enjoyable film, but the fact that I thought Source Code could have fit in to multiple different decades of movie. And in actual fact, I could have quite easily have seen somebody like Cary Grant playing the same role as Jake Gyllenhaal, who was the lead, and so it kind of had that almost like a timelessy feel to it, and I really did dig that. I really thought it was, that was cool. So I was thinking, it's Duncan Jones, this guy's not going to make a bad film. But I was just so confused, utterly confused by the marketing. I just didn't know what. I thought I was going in pretty low.
Yeah, I think pretty low is a good benchmark of what I think what most people are feeling at the moment. I think given the state of the game, which you have covered considerably, and just where the franchise is at the moment,
I was very keen to separate church from state.
Yeah,
it's what I like. It's what I like to do. I didn't want to tarnish the film with the state that the game is in currently in Warlords of Draenor. That is complete and utterly unfair to Duncan Jones.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's a different medium altogether, and it shouldn't have any of the hang-ups of what the game currently has wrong with it. So if people were kind of going into the film with the hang-ups from the game, that I don't think that was a good place to kind of be in it. I don't think it was a good attitude to kind of take with you. You have to... I wasn't bothered about... I knew there were going to be changes to the lore. I knew there was going to be artistic license with the characters and such. I ain't got a problem with that whatsoever. It's a film. It's got every right to do and take those artistic licenses. It's not pandering to the community as a direct retelling of the First War and things like that. So I did have that sort of element in my brain fixed. I was like, okay, how are they going to tweak it? How are they going to change it? How are they going to condense as much as they can into these, couple of hours? But yeah, very nervous.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because you get that association with a game that you've loved for ages, and you really want it to go well. But like I said, historically, video game translations to film, it's never been a huge success. And we're 2 or 3 days into the UK sort of pre-release, I guess you could call it, and it seems to be holding its own.
Well, the news coming out of Europe is it's doing better business than expected. Now, of course, when they say that is actually based off their own projected forecasts of how they think the movie is going to behave in certain territories.
So they could have thought it was going to tank, and it just didn't tank.
Well, they might have thought domestically it might do okay, but internationally it might not do so good. But they seem to be very happy with how it's performing. And before its UK release yesterday, it had actually taken $31 million in 20 different territories.
That's
pretty
not good going.
I think it's excellent. If you understand international audiences, and if you understand the amount of money that internationally gets brought into films, that is actually really, really good. That's really, really good. And of course, the two biggies have yet to join the fray. It hasn't domestically released. It's not going to domestically release until the 10th of June. And China is going to be a massive... That's, rapidly becoming the biggest territory in the world now.
Yeah.
And it's yet to release there. I'm worried because a lot of the hate for the film, and this is what confuses the shit out of me. A lot of the hate that I'm kind of hearing towards the film seems to be coming stateside.
I hadn't noticed the trend.
Yeah, it seems to be coming from stateside, where they there might be a few people who have seen it in a private screening or press screening. It's going to obviously be press screenings before the national releases and the domestic releases and international releases and stuff. But yeah, the kind of negativity seems to be coming from the state side, which is really confusing. And I fear that they're going to be giving people a message of negativity, and it might keep some people from coming. I mean, I had to, as an example, I'd like to call him Bob, for argument's sake, but I'm actually going to call him Captain Fuckwit, because that really kind of encapsulates him better as a person. I had Captain Fuckwit yesterday say to me, the movie's, I can't believe that you're kissing this movie's ass, i.e. I'm entitled to my own opinion and I liked it, but internet is internet.
How dare you?
I know, how dare I like something, shame on me. Slap wrist. And he said, it has to be a he, of course. Women are kind of normal, guys are fucking mental. And he said, the movie's going to be shit based on what I've heard. It's going to be crap. I think it's shit. And
that's a well-informed opinion there.
It's a fantastically logical formed opinion, that. And I just said, not kissing ass. This is my opinion based off the fact that I've seen the film. You're saying it's shit, and you haven't even seen it. So you're kind of up against that sort of mentality with some people. And I'm just a little bit concerned that some people everybody loves a fucking bandwagon. I've said this in other videos relating to other stuff. Everybody loves a fucking bandwagon.
Oh, yeah.
And if a hate bandwagon starts gaining momentum, there's going to be people wanting to jump on. I mean, look at the Ghostbusters business and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mess.
Although I think there is a really weird unmitigating circumstances with that one. But you get the drift. The bandwagon comes along, people are all on board, choo-choo. So I am a bit afraid that might stop some people from going to the domestic release. I really hope not. I would have a smile from ear to ear if it released domestically in America to big numbers. I'm not talking goddamn Civil War, Batman v Superman, Jurassic World numbers here. I'm talking good, decent numbers that they'd be happy with, they'd be proud with.
Yeah, because they want to make a sequel out of this, don't they? So you want them to do well.
The film totally was set for a sequel. I mean, there was lots of threads which were just like, we ain't going to go here until the next film.
Yeah.
There were a few of those, and I was like, I'm okay with that if you get a sequel.
Yeah, that's the thing. How many films have you seen that have done that and then it tanks and we just never get one?
But, I mean, that said, who cares? I mean, it, from their perspective, look, if it doesn't make the money, if they don't get a sequel out of this, then so what? They were setting up the universe, and it's no skin off their kind of nose. But if it does well, if it does justify them creating another film, then they can explore these other avenues, which we'll get into throughout the course. And then, considering we've kind of been into the initial thoughts, kind of expectations going into it,
yeah.
When you left the cinema, what was your feeling? Initial feeling?
It was almost exactly what I thought it was going to be. In all the good ways and in all the bad ways.
Okay.
As a long-time fan of the Warcraft universe, I got all the Easter eggs I wanted. I got to see Azeroth on the big screen, which is always good. I got to see some fantastic visuals and some really great moments. Yeah. But, as I expected, in terms of like high fantasy and, the whole genre, the big epics, it was more akin to The Hobbit than, say, Lord of the Rings.
Ooh. I'm going to dispute you on that.
Go on then.
Okay. No, I won't take you to task right now. I'm going to save it because actually one of the things I've got in my head was exactly how to respond to somebody that said this is more The Hobbit than The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, good.
I actually had a good think about this yesterday. Well, when I left it, if you see my spoiler-free review, when I left the theatre, I was beaming from ear to ear. I went in with low expectations and I left on cloud nine. I thought I got a very earnest representation of Warcraft and Azeroth, and much, much better than I'd expected it to be. Not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, there are issues which I have from here to there, but those issues certainly did not affect my enjoyment of the film. And if we're talking about issues, this made Warcraft is like Citizen Kane compared to the issues of Batman v Superman. Because although I enjoyed Batman v Superman, I enjoyed it for specific parts.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed Ben Affleck's Batman. I enjoyed certain tonal elements. I've pretended that the last half hour never happened. You know, so I do like it from sort of those sort of perspectives. But storyline, thread-wise, continuity of plot, cast, CGI, all those sort of elements.
As a whole package.
I left feeling very happy and quite proud.
Good.
Quite proud to have been a Warcraft fan. Let me tell you that. I didn't stick around to see if there were any cutscenes during the credits.
No.
No. I think that's a Marvel thing. Although they're trying to teach people how to do that. No, it's just like, nah.
Yeah.
And they did have a very small one, didn't they? Because when the film ended, it's like Warcraft appeared on the screen.
Yeah, you had a title, then
it had a little bit at the end, which we might go into later on. Okay, so that's expectations.
Yeah.
That's feelings as we left the cinema. I suppose we've really kind of got to go into the nooks and the cranny.
Yeah.
Of it all now.
Get in deep.
Now, yeah, balls deep. What I will say is this movie jumped around very quickly.
Yeah, this was one of my first issues, actually.
Okay.
The pacing and the editing, very sort of sporadic, lots of jumping around between very small snippets of storylines. And in my opinion, humble, it kind of took away from the chance to get invested in any particular one. I know they had a lot to do, and that's kind of the Achilles heel of a high fantasy film where you're introducing a whole new world. You've got a lot of ground to cover, and sometimes the story suffers, and I think it did in certain points, and the editing didn't help. So, but yeah, carry on. Let's go into the story.
Well, no, I mean, from an editing perspective,
No, hold your fire.
No sunshine. From an editing perspective, I actually rather like the quick-paced editing.
Okay.
And the reason why I rather like the quick-paced editing is, like you said, there was a lot of characters to deal service to. And I think some films really suffer from the fact that they dwell on characters for such a period of time that you've sort of lost interest of the thread, or you've sort of started to wane off the thread of another character in the film.
Yeah.
The Hobbit would be a great example of this.
Would it? Yeah, I guess it would.
It would be a great, just as an FYI, a movie to bring up. But no, The Hobbit is a great example of this because it was so kind of bloated and long-winded. There wasn't 3 films to be made out of it. So I'm not I'm not trying to attack the Hobbit franchise here, but
the billions of production issues that film went through even exist.
But I like the quick pacing because you went from Durotan and Orgrimmar to Anduin and Garona and to Khadgar and Medivh, and you were always like back with your characters relatively quickly, and we're like, oh, nice, we're back with Khadgar again. Oh, we're back with Medivh again. What's going on with Orgrimmar? Oh, there's Draka. So we're always kind of like back quickly enough with the characters to still maintain your investment in them. And I think it gave the film quite a high energy, considering there's quite a lot of times when nothing really was actually happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess that editing style does supplement the sort of lull points in the story. I don't know. I just found it a little bit disconnecting because once you sort of understood where someone was, and because I'm looking at this as not just someone who's deeply involved in the Warcraft lore, but as someone who's never been exposed to the Warcraft universe.
Yeah.
I would find that really disconnecting because you'd like, okay, no, wait, I want to find out more about these persons, but you're showing me more people, and then you're jumping between them before I can really understand what they're about, not just the story that's happening to them, but who the characters are.
Actually, I didn't get that. I really didn't get that. I got I don't know if it is because I have a knowledge of the Warcraft universe. I mean, I genuinely do not know if it is because I do.
Yeah.
But I found that I could follow what was meant to be going on, specifically plot-wise and storyline, in the film very easily.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue with following...
Also with character relationships as well. I felt immediately the relationship between Durotan and Draka.
Oh, God, yeah.
I immediately felt the relationship between Durotan and Orgrim. I immediately felt the relationship... well, not immediately, actually, that's a bit of a fib. I didn't immediately feel the relationship of Anduin and Medivh, but as the film developed and you suddenly, Medivh came more into it, then you did actually start to really kind of understand why Medivh was so important to both King Lane and Anduin Lothar as well.
Yeah.
I thought Medivh's storyline was one of the best throughout the course of the whole movie. It's the one I felt most emotionally invested in.
Okay.
Because of exactly what happens with the character, which we'll go into. But I never had... the only relationship which I didn't buy completely was Lothar and his son. His son was very much a plot device.
Oh, yeah, that was very much
he could have been called plot device.
MacGuffin.
Yeah, MacGuffin, yeah. Emotional MacGuffin. Because he was there to make Anduin detest.
Yeah, he was a catalyst, wasn't he?
He was a catalyst to fuel Anduin Lothar's hatred of the orcs and that kind of stuff. So apart from that, another relationship which I would have liked to have seen develop more was between Ruth Negga's Queen and Dominic Cooper's King Lane.
Yeah, you mentioned this in your video yesterday.
I love Ruth Negga as an actress. I think she's a phenomenal actress. She's a great actress. And when she was on screen, I was riveted. I was listening to exactly what was going on. And I thought she had great... Because she's fucking tiny. I thought she had great screen presence and really kind of portrayed the Queen very well. I don't think Dominic Lane... He was a good King Lane, don't get me wrong.
He was one of the weaker ones, I think.
Yeah, when he was in action, he especially towards the end, I felt his presence as the king.
Yeah.
And I liked that. But when he was sat in the meetings and stuff, he came across a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's trying to be too regal or whatnot, but that was kind of just coming across a little bit, because everyone else was being very natural. And I was like, yeah, I know what's going on here, but he felt kind of a little bit stiff. So yeah, I would have liked more of that relationship because I thought it would have had more impact towards the end.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite get there. Or even instead of having Lothar's son, really have put more effort in the relationship between Anduin Lothar and King Lane. And cemented that sort of relationship, which you saw was there.
But it was sort of on a bro level rather than a...
Yeah, it's sort of like these. They kind of look like two people walking through and just bro fist instead of like my liege.
Yeah.
And stuff. But this is like minor. Like I said, these are kind of like really sort of minor gripes for me.
Because you enjoyed it.
Well, because I thought the characters were very uniquely set out. I didn't feel too much stereotyping going on. I thought they had their own distinct personalities and traits, and this was one thing that I was concerned about. Again, with the terrible marketing, they made Khadgar to look like a fucking buffoon in the
Yeah,
marketing.
I was surprised and sort of how competent he became quite more quickly than I thought he was going to.
But he kind of like, he came out the fences pretty competent. I mean, this guy was like straight into the barracks to look at the soul-drained Stormwind troops.
Yeah.
Trying to ascertain how they'd got here, you know. And you could tell that he was looking for the Fel. He knew about the Fel. And that was the thing that he was looking for. And even in some slight comical moments in Karazhan with Medivh, when you first meet Medivh and Khadgar together, even that was handled very well. They didn't turn him into an oaf. You know, he wasn't like the slapstick sidekick who was tripping up on his cloak and then going, "Oh, Spirellus Maximus," and something daft would happen. No, he was a very intelligent young man, and that came to the forefront very quickly indeed. And speaking of the the first meeting between Khadgar and Medivh, when we talk about the Medivh storyline, I don't know if you realise, but looking back at the film, Medivh foreshadows everything, and he tells the characters. And if you
when he's referencing Khadgar as being like, yeah, he'll be next.
Well, he's referencing Khadgar.
I thought that was a little bit on the nose, like very quickly.
Well, no, because it was kind of on the nose. I think it's meant to be on the nose.
Yeah, I know it was.
Because I think it's meant to be on the nose for us to go, what? Why is he saying this to a guy he's just met? But then he also says to Khadgar, before he finally gets consumed by the Fel, he says, "Protect the king. We've got to save the king." Because he knows what's coming. He knows kind of like what's coming. And it's very, very clever foreshadowing with the Medivh story, which kind of makes it very tragic and beautiful towards the end.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think all the characters had very distinct personalities. I mean, Gul'dan, I've got to give Gul'dan a special mention as well, because he was as clear a villain as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, he reminded me very much of like Disney villains in terms of
I would say without going there, without being a stereotype villain, he was clearly the villain, but the way that he went about things, I thought, again, you could understand why people were following him. You could understand why although he wasn't technically the war chief, he was the man.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I mean, Clancy Brown's Blackhand was meant to be the war chief, the main war chief, wasn't he?
Yeah, I felt his character kind of got pushed to the side. He was a bit more of a henchman than anything.
But I think that was kind of intentional.
Yeah.
Although people were sort of meant to take their major direction from Clancy Brown. Gul'dan was pulling all the strings. Unless he was just referring to him as war chief because he was war chief of the,
Yeah.
And because they all had the separate clans there, they had, of course, Durotan was a war chief. I think we very, very briefly at the beginning saw...
you actually see quite a few of the war chiefs, or the warlords.
Apparently Grom's there. I can't remember seeing Grom at all.
I remember seeing Grom and Kargath in the same shot.
I remember Kilrog. I remember seeing Kargath or Kilrog. I remember Kilrog. I remember seeing Kilrog. But again, that was very early on.
Yeah.
And you blink, you miss it, sort of business. I'm pretty sure it's Kilrog because he had exactly the same hairdo.
Fair enough.
In Warlords of Draenor. So I'm reckoning it was him. And yeah, I thought the characters were very specific, very unique. Their personalities, their traits, and I think for the most part it was well acted.
Yeah, for the most part, I think.
You said that without too much conviction.
Yeah, I know. There were a couple of people who stood out for me as very, like you were saying, that there wasn't much, that there weren't any sort of cookie cutter characters. I thought Lane was very much a cookie cutter fantasy king. I don't think he delivered too much else.
Mm-hmm.
Especially,
I see that.
because in like you were saying, in the scenes where he's not being action hero. When they're just planning, they're strategizing against Anduin Lothar, he fades right into the background for me. And he
is that because Travis Fimmel has such a personality within the film?
I think it is, but I think if you've got two people like that, then the script has to balance them out. I don't think.
And I've heard reviews where they're just like, this Anduin Travis Fimmel can't carry a film, and I'm just like,
you carried this one?
Are you shitting me? The guy carries the Alliance. This is fucking Captain Alliance right here. He was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and you just think with a guy like that, I
would follow him into battle.
Well, that's the thing. What does the king bring to this that he hasn't already brought?
That's why I think he was a little bit stiff. But he at the end he became very regal.
Yeah, it was a little bit Shakespearean, like something you'd see in Hamlet. Yeah. But it's
I get that. I fully get that. It didn't affect it for me.
Fair enough.
But I definitely see where you're coming from that point. Like I said, I'm not saying this is a perfect film.
No.
I'm saying it's a highly enjoyable film.
Yes.
But yeah, I can get that. Now, plot-wise, it goes at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, it's got a lot to do, hasn't it?
It has got a lot to do. And the lore buffs out there are going to be, I don't know, depends how lore buffy you are. If you can be a normal human being and understand that you can't have the exact storyline from lore, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who can't accept that, it's going to probably make you pull your hair out of the artistic licenses that they take.
Yeah, I think I'm bang in the middle on that one, which is where my problems with the film came from.
It didn't bother me in the slightest. Like I said, it's a film. They have their own universe. They have their own artistic license. They have 2 hours to produce a piece of cinema, whereas lore is books and games and decades, literally 2 decades worth of lore. So they have 2 hours to make the best film that they possibly can. So tweaks and changes to the lore ain't got a problem.
Fair enough. No, it's fair enough.
Yeah. So the story-wise starts off on Draenor.
Yeah, really nice looking Draenor as well.
Really?
I thought because
Hellfire Peninsula was Hellfire Peninsula. This wasn't Tanaan Jungle. This was like wasteland.
Oh yeah, this was very much. I think where they retconned the disaster that was Warlords and just went with it always looked like that. Don't worry about it. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it because I was really worried that they'd have like the same skybox as you get on Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
And the same landscape, and it would look too unrealistic against these CGI characters, which is the first thing you see. And actually, bear with me 1 second. The first thing we see is a human and an orc fighting. Did you notice the parallels with the original Warcraft cinematic?
Yes.
I first little giggle to myself, and I thought that was really great.
I was a little bit confused by that because I was thinking, this is exposition that we don't need. So this is purely fan service.
No, see, I think it is stuff that we do need because you think that. Let's compare this.
But he goes on and he starts saying like, many years. This is a narration from many years in the future.
Yeah.
Than the film setting, because it's just like, there was once a time when orcs and humans didn't fight.
Yeah.
Now it's just like normal business. Let's have a scrap. Sort of thing. And I was kind of like, that didn't need to be there. That's there for fan service. But okay.
No, I mean, I'm of the opinion that if you're going to try and set up a universe, to do it right at the beginning as quickly as possible, they kind of teased it, and I thought that was okay. Like going back to the Lord of the Rings, it's got 10 minutes of build up with Cate Blanchett narrating the whole thing, and you get the whole 2,000 years of history leading up to it, which you need because you've got a completely new universe that you're trying to get people involved in and to care about, and you've got to start with something. You can't just start bang in the middle of the story and go.
Well, they're not though, are they? They're starting from the perspective that the orc world's dying. Gul'dan has managed to open a portal to another world, we see on the other side, there's like humans that are like chilling out. Now, not a lot happening. Stuff's, not a lot going down, and then suddenly shit hits the fan.
Yeah, I guess there's not as much backstory as there is with the Middle-earth universe, and that's kind of, that balances out.
There's already a big motivation just going on there. I mean, but it doesn't really matter. It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, no, it's
But we get a look at the Draenei. Slaves.
Heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, and this is what I really liked. And this is what put a smile on my face straight away.
Yeah.
I'm not a sadistical person.
No, but this is true
but it was earnest, and I was just like, this isn't like, people in a cage sort of like, oh, woe is us.
Indiana Jones kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of, this was very much like, these people are fucked.
Mm.
And they actually felt, it kind of was more akin to sort of like an Auschwitz. It's such a powerful sort of analogy.
No, but it was.
Yeah, it's kind of akin more of an internment camp than just a bunch of people stuck in a cage.
And you really felt the cost of opening the portal.
Yeah. When Gul'dan literally en masse rips the souls out of probably thousands of Draenei, you're just like, holy fuck buckets. That is horrific. And you just see like these withered arms just dangling out the cages and stuff.
Yeah.
Some pretty gruesome imagery.
Yeah, to start off with.
Yeah. And that's what kind of made me smile, because I was just like, oh, Duncan Jones he's in it.
He's not messing about.
In it. Yeah, he's in it to win it. This isn't any fucking Beastmaster type of effort here. This isn't campy. This isn't Gul'dan wasn't going to be fucking Skeletor from Masters of the Universe. These were like genuine bona fide threats, and you were sort of like, fuck.
Yeah. And
to immediately see sort of the plight with Garona, the plight with the pregnant Draka, Ogrim and Durotan discussing why they need to do with this, but also their kind of reservations and concerns about.
Yeah, but it's out of complete desperation, isn't it? And that really comes across when you see this happen. And there's a shot where the portal opens and they're walking. Durotan's about to walk through, and he looks back and he sees the cost of opening this. Well, that's what I felt that was how that was coming across. And it kind of like, damn, he's not happy about what's happening, but kind of he's backed into a corner. What else can you do?
Well, no, yeah, exactly. This is what I adored about it is this is not a black and white situation. There are so many shades of grey in this film, which I really appreciated. And
yeah,
we'll see again with Ogrim Doomhammer later on. There are shades of grey everywhere. And what he knows that this is not right, but at the same time, he also knows if they're to survive, it's got to be done.
Yeah, and it is purely out of survival. There's no, I don't know. You kind of.
It's also because of his, it's also because of family. It's because his wife's pregnant, Draka's pregnant, and it's about, and my family must survive. My child must live. It must flourish in this new land. It must have an opportunity. It must have a chance to live, even if we have to die. We have to die to try and give it that opportunity.
Yeah,
a very earnest beginning. And when I saw that beginning, I was just like, I'm gonna fucking like this film.
No, it's good.
If they keep this level of like, not necessarily intensity, because you've got to have your lighter moments. But if they keep this level of earnestness up, then I'm really gonna get into this, because I love getting invested. You tell me a story, I'm there. I love stuff.
Yeah.
And it just, I thought Duncan Jones set it up so brilliantly, and I thought the screenwriting was excellent, and he did the screenplay as well. So I suddenly all these CGI characters, because this is another thing which kind of made me smile. All these CGI characters, Gul'dan, Draka, Durotan, Ogrim, I'm invested in them.
1000%. And this is actually
and
the big thing that I really enjoyed about the film. The motion capture performances. It's such a leap forward.
Yeah, it was staggering, to say the least. You could feel every nuance of emotion.
Yeah.
That the actor was trying to convey to the audience. There wasn't a beat missed. You never ever felt as if it was all a bit stone-faced.
Yeah, and I think that's come from the fact
we must survive, we must move forward.
Yeah, no, it was people talking. It wasn't monsters, which I was worried about.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I said in the video yesterday that to me, it was, what's he called? Toby Kebbell. Toby Kebbell was the outstanding performer for me in the film.
Yeah.
By
far and away.
He kind of out Andy Serkis.
Yeah, I don't know if Andy Serkis was involved on this project. You know, usually any motion capture, he's there in the background
Trains
somewhere,
them, doesn't he? Yeah. He's, but I tell you what, I mean, I don't mean it's a disrespect to Andy Serkis at all. What I'm saying is, it's fantastic to see actors elevating themselves up.
Yeah, it's a new level of animation, isn't it?
Yeah, and has so much potential for the future of film, and where we can take characters and believability, because you look at here's a great example. Well, I think it's a great example. You might differ. But you look at the relationship between the orcs in this film.
Yeah.
And how believable that is. And then you look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Doomsday from Batman v Superman. Which just looks like a fucking CGI mess.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a CGI mess. I don't believe it's a character for a moment. I don't believe it's got any sort of personality. I believe it's been created by 20,000 fucking animators.
Yeah. And that's what I got from the Hobbit trilogy, was because, you know, you go from the Lord of the Rings being all prosthetics, and then all of the Hobbit, all of the villains were CGI, and you completely lost all connection with the threat, because they weren't there.
But this,
and
then we have the bridge. We have suddenly
this actually
CGI
delivers it,
looking believable, and CGI having me invest in them as characters and people, and you know, that to me was just like, boom, mind blown, and that contributed towards this almost perpetual smile that I had on my face all the way through. Now, because of the quick-paced kind of plot, we are never going to be able to go beat for beat.
No.
Through this film, so I think we've got to focus more on the more important.
Yeah, the overall thread.
Yeah, the more important aspect.
Because
they go through the dark portal. They arrive at Morass, of course.
Yeah.
That's what it was previously called, and then became Black Morass, I believe, and then became the Blasted Lands when it all went
tits up.
But yes, they refer to it as Morass as well, and we have Draka. Her travel through the portal went a bit wibbly wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. It forces her into labour, and she gives birth to a stillborn thrall.
Yeah.
And Gul'dan, after shouting at them for bringing for bringing a pregnant woman through, realizes, of course, that this is a great opportunity. And this is why Gul'dan is a great villain. And this is why I don't buy him, I don't buy him as like a Disney stereotype, blah, blah, blah. Because he shouts at them for taking this pregnant woman through the portal, believing this is for warriors only.
Yeah.
And then sees a wonderful opportunity to garnish favour with his troops and turn this, the stillborn child into a pro. And he just sucks the soul horrifyingly and brilliantly, because the special effects are so good. Sucks the soul out of a deer and then blows the Fel energy into Thrall, turning his skin green.
Yeah, which is cool little moment, just explaining the difference between his parents and Thrall. Yeah,
because Orgrim Doom the wolf, the Frost Wolf clan have not drunk the have not been. They don't drink the blood of Manaroth. It's not mentioned in this.
Yeah.
In this, Gul'dan gifts them with Fel power. But the Frostwolf clan have not yet accepted the Fel. All the other clans are. They're green. Well, most of the other clans are. There's a load of green troops.
Yeah.
Clancy's Brown's Blackhand is still brown-skinned. But all the Frostwolf clan are brown-skinned. So suddenly you got this like ghostly, almost white dead orc having Fel life breathed into it by Gul'dan, and then it's this little baby comes to life and he's green, and then Gul'dan holds him up and says, "This is our first warrior."
It's a bit of a Simba moment.
Yeah, it's like a Lion King. Oh my god, it is Disney. Fuck shit. Fuck.
Got it.
God damn! No, I've had it in a trap. But it is. It's this great moment. He sort of like holds it aloft and gets the troops to all be.
Yeah, it's a nice little nuance moment.
Yeah. So I was sort of like, that's clever. That's clever by Gul'dan, because now his troops love him even more. Because he's not only taken them successfully through the Dark Portal, he's resurrected this tiny burn, and it's green, obviously like the rest of them who've accepted the Fel.
Yeah. And
he's going to grow up to be a fearsome warrior. One of our fearsome warriors. So yeah, very, very kind of clevery stuff. And then, do you want to take over from the Alliance side for a bit?
Where does the Alliance side start? Okay.
Well, I think it kind of starts with Khadgar in the barracks.
Yeah, it's so we got Anduin Lothar is investigating the aftermath of an attack from this orc warband that have just poured in through this portal, and an officer mentions that we caught a guy snooping around. He was looking at the corpses, not in a weird way, but you might want to have a word with him.
Yeah.
And storms into the room. There's a very young Khadgar. He immediately pins him to the table, pulls up his wrist, and there you see this tattoo, this brand of the Kirin Tor, which as a mage in game, I was quite giddy about. I was very excited to see Dalaran. And yeah, he's questioning. He's like, I just need to see these guys. I have a theory. So they go to examine one of the bodies, and lo and behold, dead corpse coughs out some fel dust.
Kind of husk.
Yeah.
Soul husk.
Yeah, he's not looking too hot even for a dead guy.
No. Kind of looking like the zombies from Life Force.
So yeah, then we kind of have this moment where it's like, yeah, the king should probably know about this. So off to Goldshire they trot.
Oh, and when they went over the bridge...
Is this the Murloc moment? Yeah, you have no idea how many people giggled. I realised in the cinema I was around, Warcraft players, not just people here to see the film.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people giggled at that. And I thought that was nice. I'm amongst peers here. So yeah, you then go to Goldshire, and I think
didn't see any druids fucking any night owls, which was bizarre.
Yeah, that was depends what server you're on, I guess, isn't it?
So they're not following the law then.
No. So yeah, then we get introduced to Lane. Where he's having a little bit of a chat about, having a bit of a tipple. And I thought the set design was great because it looked like the inside of Goldshire Inn. It was laid out perfectly.
Oh yeah, they've done that on purpose.
Yeah, of course. And it's just sort of that is where the bar is, and that is where the stairs are, and it's like, you
even those tables are there, that fireplace is there.
but no orgies. But there we are, not that kind of film, I guess.
It will be in about 6 months, don't worry.
Yeah. So we have, okay, this has happened. Time to call the Guardian. I'll let you take over.
And the Guardian said, I think that Warcraft Movie is pro-Donald Trump, anti-immigration. I was just like, what a fucking unbelievably terrible review that was.
I know.
Yeah, fortunately, they weren't calling on that guy.
Not that Guardian.
Not that retarded Guardian. No, this is where they head on over to the beautiful Karazhan.
And it is gorgeous looking Karazhan.
It is a lovely looking Karazhan. Definitely not the Karazhan from the games.
No.
But I'm okay with that, because obviously this is an untainted Karazhan to start with.
Yeah.
And the greeted... I always wondered from the trailers who was greeting them at Karazhan, because we knew that was Karazhan. And I was thinking, who could that be? Is it just like Joe Bloggs, you know?
Yeah, is it just...
character saying, the Guardian will see you now, Medivh will see you now. But it actually turns out to be Morose. And when they went, Morose, I was just like, fuck yes!
Yeah.
And it was just like awesome. And the reason why I'm sort of like so excited for Morose is the fact that I raided Karazhan. I don't know how many times I fucking raided Karazhan. And Morose was a good little boss because of the ads. It was a tough little fight.
So you get that nostalgia hit.
Yeah, you got that wonderful sort of nostalgic feel. And he dropped an enchant, which I really fucking wanted. And I eventually got. But my goodness, it took some time for that enchant to drop and me to get it. At Spell Surge or something, I can't remember what it was. Something like Spell Surge or something. And it was so cool to kind of like have a Karazhan boss reference.
Yeah.
And it was played by Callum Keith Rennie, who I really like as an actor. I gotta confess. So when I saw him, because I never got a good look at his face before. So when I saw him, and then I saw, he was playing this character, and he's been in stuff like Californication, played a great character in Californication.
Yeah, I'm on his IMDb page at the moment. He's been in tons of stuff.
But when I say came across him, I don't mean literally. We're just friends. We kissed once, but that was it. Battlestar Galactica, because I was massively into Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
And he was one of the Cylon replicants in that. So it was wonderful to see him. I was really kind of like chuffed to see him. And then we get taken, Khadgar and Lothar get taken to see Medivh, of course.
Yeah, they stop off in the library.
Leonardo de Medivh, who's in his brown leather pants and not a lot else, sculpting this huge golem. And when he's sculpting the golem, when I saw the golem, I was just like, please, for the love of fucking God, turn into an Infernal at the end of the film. Please be the start of and this is how Infernals are created or something. I was like that. It's like, please, Ben.
Well, that's the Arena Warlock.
Definitely going to fight. Yes. They're definitely going to have to fight this thing at some point. Please, dear God, do something that makes it into an Inferno. Nearly got my wish. Nearly. And then we have the bit where Khadgar goes on a little bit of a wander, sees this dark figure vanish into the bookcases.
Yeah.
Medivh knows exactly what's going on in Karazhan. Doesn't matter what room he's in. He knows exactly what Khadgar's been. Well, not exactly, but he knew that he was up to something. He knew where he was, and so he's obviously got great power. And then we have this great kind of like scene where he just starts throwing Khadgar around the place, and Lothar's just like, fuck you.
Yeah, and this was the first time you get to see magic properly used. And I thought the visual effects for magic in this were stunning.
Oh,
the
awesome.
design on it was brilliant.
They were so good. I mean, I'm gonna maybe piss some people off here, but the spell effects were so good. They kind of looked more Final Fantasy than they did World of Warcraft. I mean, the spells didn't sort of, bar the odd spell here or there.
Yeah.
They didn't resemble the spells from WoW.
No, the symbols and
great.
Sort of runes do.
Yeah. The symbols and the runes do, but the way that they kind of constructed the spells, which were very, very clever indeed, and the look of them and stuff like that, and kind of like the spells that they projected and stuff.
You felt a lot of the impact didn't you? It wasn't
Oh,
just...
yeah. I especially like the protect barrier. That came into effect a bit later on with the orcs, and that was quite funny. We actually had a little bit of a comic moment with that, which I thought was gave me a bit of a chuckle. And Anduin's just like, fucking hell, if the Guardian wants to chuck you around to tell you to get the information out of you, fuck it, I'll let him do that. He's the Guardian, bitch. And that's where Medivh, of course, talks about you're not running this place yet.
Yeah.
It refers to all this yet business, all this foreshadowing. You're just like, what?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit too frequent, the yet. I think one would have been enough, but it's done 4, 5 times.
I think it's done twice.
No, it was more than that. But anyway.
I definitely remember 2. Put it. I definitely remember 2 times.
Yeah.
Medivh says to Khadgar that over the course of the film that you are not in charge of here yet. Again, stressing the yet. I kind of had a worry that Medivh was going to be a very wooden character. Again, the cutting of the trailers made his acting to kind of be a bit stoic.
Yeah, I thought it was to begin with. That scene was, that introduced the character really well. I thought he got enough to do in that scene to sort of get across the character in a really good way. From then on, I think he got a little bit wooden until the very end.
Well, bear in mind, his character hasn't interacted with anyone apart from Morose by the looks of it for 6 years. The Guardian's not been sort of like seen or heard from for 6 years, and nobody's been particularly bothered because nothing's going on.
Yeah.
The Guardian's there to save Azeroth.
Everyone's chilling out.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, he's gone AWOL, but, it's not as if anything's fucking happening or anything. And as soon as something happens, we're calling upon the Guardian, and he's there for it.
Yeah.
And he does some great teleporting. He teleports people through to Stormwind and such, and the spell effects for them are just great. And he's just stand in the circle.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. It's just really, really kind of cool. And yes, they all kind of like, I think they go back and sort of like meet up with King Lane, and he's suddenly got his crow's outfit on, and Atesh, is it Atesh?
Atish,
staff?
yeah.
Atish. The staff Atish, which looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. I did like the production design.
Yeah, which Khadgar manages to get his hand on a couple of times, of course.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. The references, like him throwing that when they're investigating this other attack, and he gets the stuff handed to him, and there's that little note in the score that really emphasises that point. I thought that kind of thing subtle enough that you kind of, foreshadowing, rather than the yet in the dialogue. I think that would have balanced a little bit better. But anyway,
maybe. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Don't get me wrong. I understand where you're coming from. That maybe a little bit more subtlety would have gone, a bit further. But that said, I think it was really trying to set up Khadgar's importance.
I guess. Hadn't thought about that.
Considering he's so young, because he is played by what looks like 20-something dude. Might be a bit older, but kind of looks in his 20s.
Yeah.
I think it was really kind of trying to set up the importance of where Khadgar was going to go as a character. And then they go out on this kind of like patrol, don't they? To go to somewhere based off an area which has been attacked by the orcs, and then they are set upon by Blackhand, Durotan.
Yeah, he's around.
He's around, not getting too involved.
Yeah, I mean, we had this moment in Westfall, didn't we? That moment with Blackhand's like, well, if you're not going to fight, what good are you? Because the Frostwolves are like, we prefer to fight people with axes in their hands, not just women and children.
Yes.
Which I thought was a good way of setting up the kind of internal plot conflict.
Yeah, and I think I'd like that kind of stuff, because in kind of films like this, it would have been very easy to suddenly stamp black and white.
Yeah.
and Blackhand suddenly be like, whoa, these Frostwolf guys, they're not helping us fight. Let's immediately jump on them, beset them.
Yeah.
But no, there was still some sort of understanding of their ways and their culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of old versus new sort of theology in the Orcish culture.
He shrugged it off, but he knew they were right. You know, he knew that they were, the Orcs are warriors. They fight to live. They survive by conquering. But they kind of like fight people who fight them back. It's not really kind of like a women and children thing. So it's sort of like, fuck you. Fuck you, I'm off.
They kind of have this little squabble and then all is well.
But that's kind of like a brief bit, and then we get into we got into this ambush. And one thing which I really liked in the ambush, actually there were two things I really liked in the ambush. Well, actually, there were three things. There are a few things. Let's just cover my ass. There were a few things I really liked about the ambush.
Yeah.
Number one, Medivh needed time to construct a spell.
Yes, that's
which kind of took him out of the fight.
He had a cast time.
Yeah, he had a cast time, which was really cool. And then there was this point which I'd seen in the trailers. And I thought it was a little bit goofy. I mean, it was fun, don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit goofy. And this is kind of like where the cutting of the marketing again. Where Blackhand literally picks up a horse.
Yeah, I thought this was the bit you were going to talk about.
And, just as a visual, it's a pretty cool visual.
Yeah.
But it's very goofy.
Well, it immediately sets up, because this is the first time that you see orcs and humans fight properly.
Put it this way, when you see an orc next to a human, they're fucking massive.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did it.
You understand that a human is... And then a lot of these humans are just getting fucking twatted left, right, and centre, and they're out in one hit.
One for one, orcs dominate.
And you sort of like, I totally buy that. They are physically more imposing.
Yeah.
But again, picking up of the horse business is almost kind of jumping the shark in a way. Although it was funny and sort of like that. But what kind of made me go, oh, you little beauty, was when Blackhand picked up the horse and threw it. And I was just like, ooh, bit goof. It immediately cuts to a female orc who just pisses herself laughing. And she's just like, ah! As if, that was fucking ridiculous, dude. Picking up a fucking horse and throwing it. And I was just like, perfect.
Yeah, it offsets the tone by laughing at itself before you get a chance to laugh at it.
Yeah, it was just like, you knew that was a bit goofy, and you were just like, we're going to make the characters realise that was a bit goofy, what he just did then, but it kind of went down well. So I was just like, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant with that segment. And then Khadgar, when Durotan decides to step in, because he sees Khadgar using some magic. I think he uses arcane. What's the one?
I'm trying to think of the shot.
It's not the arcane blast. It's the arcane barrage, missile barrage. It's the barrage. He uses the barrage, and I think that's when Durotan's just like, "Oh,
magic!
This guy's got power. Yeah, this guy's got power.
Yeah,
maybe he needs taken out." So he makes a move on Khadgar, and Khadgar gets this fucking barrier up.
Little bubble.
And Durotan's just like, bump.
Hang on, what?
It's this barrier. He's just like, what? What the fuck? Huh? And he's just like got this goofy look on his face.
Just like, oh, dude, fight fair.
Yeah, I can't get in. And Khadgar's sort of like there, doing his incantations inside, sort of like, fuck me.
He's like Guardian, help.
Hold. Yeah, Guardian, go on, hold. And then Medivh just goes, boff.
Yeah. All the fell orcs
his cast time finishes, and what he's done is he's turned the fell energy against the orcs who are corrupted by it, and it just fucking literally melts them, doesn't it? Drains them of all the fell, and they
all the life that they'd gained from the fell kind of drained into the ground, and they all turned into husks.
Or did they drain into Medivh?
Yeah.
That's the kind of I think at first glance, of course, it's just like it drains into the ground. but I think
he was just stripping them.
Yeah, in further respect to the film, it looks like he was actually taking the fell himself because he became fell corrupt. So we see some, what I thought were just amazing visuals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the direction on all the fight scenes, I think, was, for a Warcraft film, pretty flawless.
And this, when Durotan, this is where Blackhand as well, Blackhand becomes Blackhand.
Yeah.
Because he's about to squash Travis Fimmel. And at the beginning of the film, he's given a flintlock from a dwarf.
Yeah, because you get to see Ironforge.
Very briefly see Ironforge.
It's enough.
It is enough. Outside it looked beautiful. I was just like, ah!
Yeah.
But, you know, I wouldn't dare admit that. But inside I was like, ah! That's so cool. So fucking cool. Even if the dwarves looked... That's one of the rope. They were one of the ropey CGI bits for me. They were a bit ropey.
But they looked accurate.
I thought they could have looked better. But never mind. And then he grabs the blunderbuss because he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And Lothar pulls the trigger and it blows fucking Blackhand's hand off. And so suddenly he is Blackhand because it's just scorched.
Yeah, I think he's got one finger left.
Yeah, maybe one or two.
And a stump.
Left. Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not a lot left. And that's what causes him to kind of get out the fight. So Durotan gets out the fight.
Yeah, all the fell orcs drop.
All the fell orcs drop.
The ones that aren't just...
of course, runs into Garona.
Yeah.
Frees Garona. Breaks the chains because she's a prisoner. Breaks the chains and then she's freed and summarily captured by the Alliance.
Yeah, kind of didn't go very well for her.
No, he's kind of like...
I'm free! I'm free!
But we get to see some decent frost wolves in there as well and stuff. And,
yeah.
It was a nicely constructed scene. Good pacing, good action.
And really sets up the conflict between, like, physical conflict, not just, like, you know, for narrative's sake.
Yeah, you got to see how orcs are gonna fucking crush some humans.
Yeah, and you get Lothar telling his son, you know, you can't attack these guys with brute force, so you got to be much smarter than that.
Yeah, because I think it's called Callum. Is his son called Callum?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Callum tries to go toe to toe and just gets fucking annihilated by one, and he's just about to smash his head to pieces when Anduin sticks a sword in his back. But you see Anduin fighting very cleverly, because I think you see him like cutting knees. And,
yeah, he's hamstringing them.
Hamstrings and stuff like that, and he's bringing these orcs down, and then he's fucking necking them and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's fighting clever, and that's when you do realise that, you know, this guy is a very experienced fighter. He's looking to the weak points of these huge creatures, and then so it became believable
that he could take one down.
Yeah, on how he could individually take an orc down, and then to kind of support this of how good he is, when we see later confrontations between orcs and humans, you'll notice that there's normally about 3 humans fighting an orc to take it down.
Yeah, the ratio is proportionate to their size.
Yeah. So they have to, you know, they kind of like humans have to play the numbers game, unless you're Anduin, in which case you can kick some serious buttocks.
Yeah. Well, you don't get to where he is without being badass.
Well, and rightfully so. He's the head of the Stormwind army.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Jaime Lannister, and looks like he's got the fighting skills of the Jaime Lannister as well.
Yeah.
So we have Garona. And they're trying to figure out... They're very trusting of Garona. Early doors.
Yeah, fairly early doors.
Out of inquisitiveness, but they understand, I think, that she was a prisoner.
Yeah.
So they were sort of realising that her physique is more akin to a human than... it's more akin to a human than an orc.
Yeah. And do we actually get a definitive answer as to... Is she half-breed? Is she... just a runt, or is, because I was trying to pay attention to it. I never got is she half orc, half human? Is she half orc, half Draenei, or
Well, there's a part in the film which we'll get to, which I think drops a huge hint at Garona's lineage.
Okay.
Which we'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it. But yeah, and then I'll see how you react to that. But yeah, I think there's
You think it's quite evident?
Not quite evident. I think it's potentially.
Okay.
I think there's a decent hint dropped.
Fair enough. Stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things I was talking about right at the beginning, where it was a thread that was clearly to be utilised in another film.
Okay.
But it was planting the seed of the potential lineage of Garona. So yeah, they kind of she struts around in a leather bikini for a bit, which is fine by me because she's fit. She's really, really, really fit. Paula Patton, my God, wow, that's a woman right there.
Anyway,
yeah. Sorry, moving on.
Should we just give you a few minutes?
Yes.
We'll be right back, folks.
Let's just take an intermission, shall we? Okay. Yeah.
Blimey, that was quick.
I know. That's me. That's what all my girlfriends say. So yeah, she apart from being a gorgeous-looking woman, all this kind of like nonsense of her prosthetics interfering with the ability to understand her. Oh, shut
what?
up.
No, she was fine.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
She was using purposeful broken English because she obviously learns really quickly.
Yeah, they cover that because she learnt from a prisoner that they'd captured when they first came through. That's how they kind of justify that she can speak.
And she can speak Draenei as well, because she speaks the Draenei at the beginning, and the Yorks actually ask her what she's saying. You know, what are they saying? So she's obviously got a good grasp of languages, and she speaks in this kind of broken English to the Alliance, because none of these races can understand each other. Although they speak in English, it's clearly laid out. I think the Kotaku review said it was very clumsy. I didn't think it's clumsy.
I thought it was well handled.
Very cleverly laid out, especially the one segment in Blackrock, where the Orcs are speaking in Orcish and the English is speaking, the Alliance is speaking, or the Stormwind Guards. I shouldn't refer to them as Alliance, but
no.
you know, they're not the Alliance yet, but they are at the end of the film. So
Spoilers.
The whole thing is a fucking spoiler, Grant.
I'm winding you up, mate.
If you're 1 hour 12 minutes in, and you're just like, fucking spoilers, dude, something is fucked in your head, mate. But yeah, it's like this great moment where the Orcs are speaking in Orcish, Garona's translating, the Stormwind Guards are speaking in English, and then suddenly Durotan is speaking in Orcish and it turns to English.
Yeah.
And then Garona turns from speaking English into what would be, I think, Common.
Yeah.
And that is very clever, and I was just like...
Yeah, that transition, I was just like, I've never seen a translation scene in any film done quite like that, where you're like halfway through a sentence, it swaps.
Yeah, I was just, and that was just like, fucking, that was great. That was good, guys. That was really, really good. Well done.
Just you in the audience going, brava!
No, bravo! Encore! But no, it's another great, it's another big nod to Duncan Jones. I think, like I said, this was a very well-constructed and clever film in a lot of places, and this is why I found it so entertaining that he could do certain nods like that. And I thought it worked very well indeed. So we have this bit with Garona. They're trying to trust Garona, and they're just like, look, we're never going to build bridges unless we trust each other. And there's bits in and out of prison and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then I think there's the scouting the Orcs. I am pushing through a little bit of plot here.
Yeah.
To try and get to the decentish stuff. When I say decentish stuff, I mean the meat and potatoes stuff. And they're scouting out the Dark Portal to kind of get an idea, and they're ambushed by Durotan.
He knocks out...
And Khadgar. Yeah, he knocks out one of the King's Guard. The King's not there, but he knocks out one of the major Alliance guys.
Yeah.
He says about 2 words in the film. I think.
Yeah.
Can't
remember.
He's always seemingly there. He's always seemingly behind Anduin in virtually every scene. that Anduin is like in a military capacity.
Yeah. He's
but
always
like,
got his messenger, I think he is.
Yeah. And we're kind of left with Garona and Khadgar, and then we've seen Durotan has just got Khadgar's whole mouth blocked. He knows
There's his whole head just in his palm.
Yeah. But he's noticed that Khadgar was crying.
I didn't notice that. That's quite sweet.
Was crying because he was just like, he's going to crush my skull. And I was just like, that is brilliant.
Yes,
you know, this
nice
guy
subtlety.
legitimately, he thinks he's talking, because he can't understand what Durotan's saying, remember. Although he's speaking in English to the audience.
Yeah, he has no idea.
He's got no idea what's being spoken. And Durotan is saying, look, you know, we want to kind of like parley with the king, because we don't believe that Gul'dan is...
We're not flying under one banner.
Yeah, we don't think that this guy is doing the right thing. And we think, you know, it'd be mutually beneficial to chat. So Khadgar doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. And he's got these tears coming down the side of his face. And I noticed that very clearly, because he's just thinking, they're talking, he's going to kill me.
Yep.
When they finish talking, he's just going to kill me. And then he lets him go. And he's just like, oh my fucking god. and this is where we have the Black Rock scene. They meet up again, cutting out exposition areas. We meet up at Black Rock, and we have that great translation scene. But this is where we get this a next shade of grey, because one of the people who knew what Durotan was going to do was his best bud,
Orgrim,
which is Orgrim Doomhammer.
Yeah,
and he shocked him out to Blackhand.
Yeah, because we have, I mean, they're talking. They seem to come to some kind of agreement. Like, you obviously don't mean as much harm as maybe the Green Ones. Back on the racism undertones of this, which I don't think really exists, but
there's no fucking racism.
Of course there isn't. It's stupid.
Shut up, you stupid man! Not you, the guy from the Guardian. Go on, you as well. Just for funsies.
So yeah, we get this ambush. Orgrim conveniently goes to check on the sentries. Convenient.
It wasn't convenient.
I don't know.
This is clever writing. He's told to, or he says to, he's either told or he says to Durotan, I can't remember, I'm going to check the perimeter.
Yeah.
Which gives him the excuse to pull out. But when we, when we're removed from the situation and we get Durotan and Orgrim back together, this is much later on in the film, but when they do get back together, and he asks him why he betrayed him, and he was just like, and it was totally Bible. He's just like, because we're orcs and we don't know who the fuck humans are.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, so it was like a fully valid it's a shitty thing to do, to shop out your clan, and it caused the destruction of the whole Frostwolf and ultimately the death of Durotan. But it was just this it was a legitimate motivating factor. It wasn't contrived. It wasn't sinister, Machiavellian.
Yeah. This was...
I am going to do a heel turn,
Yeah, this was... I think this might not be the answer either.
Yeah, I don't think the humans are the answer. Maybe we just need to fucking discuss it ourselves more.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for fucking shopping you out, dude, but we are orcs. They are not.
Yeah.
We've got to sort our own shit out between each other. So I totally bought that. That kind of Orgrim betrayal. But this is where we get another brilliant fight scene. We get King Lane doing a bit of fighting, I think, as well, for a little bit.
Orc scouts popping out the ground.
Orc scouts popping out, cover themselves in the coal or whatever it is, coke or coal or whatever it may be, or just
black rocks,
whatever it may be. But yeah, they pop out of that. Medivh casts a barrier to try and protect a lot of the Alliance retreat.
Yeah,
But this is where Lothar's son gets caught on the other side, and
Yeah, there's that great moment where there's a set of Alliance soldiers, human soldiers backed against the barrier.
I really felt emotionally. I was actually legitimately heartbroken.
Yeah, it reminded me of the bit in the Phantom Menace. Sorry to compare it to the Phantom Menace, but
you are a heartless cunt.
Ooh. Ooh. But it was that bit where
nothing should ever be referred. No,
that bit when Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan's stuck on the other side of the barrier, can't do anything.
No, I disagree. Do you know why I disagree?
Okay.
Because I didn't fucking believe that. I didn't buy the emotional impact because that film was so badly made.
Yes. Well, yeah,
there was no.
I'm
felt
not defending
this
Phantom
emotional
Menace.
Impact. I legitimately felt this emotional impact because you saw this, like, I think there was about 6 or 7 soldiers on the other side of the barrier because Medivh, unbeknownst to the people at the time, is becoming more affected by the Fel.
Yeah, he passes out, doesn't he, with the barrier still up?
Yeah, he's losing control over his power and himself, and he passes out after doing this huge spell, which is clearly a huge spell, a huge barrier spell, and he can't put it down, he can't move it, he can't do anything.
Yeah.
He's out. Medivh is out for the count. He's unconscious now. And they can't pass through the barrier, which makes sense. It's the whole point of the barrier.
Yeah.
So even though Lothar tries to get through to the barrier on the other side and stuff and all that kind of jazz, you just see these Stormwind guards systematically get fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
And then Blackhand doesn't... Now, I really like the way that Callum died, because he didn't just kill Callum.
He berated
him and then held him up on the prongs of this prosthetic
Fel arm
hand. Yeah, well, no, he wasn't Fel then. It was just his metal.
Or he put his arm in the Fel fire, didn't he? And then he got.
No, that's after.
Oh,
that's after. He was just literally holding Callum up as a trophy, and then flung him at the fucking barrier. Yeah, just flung him at the barrier to say to Lothar, "Fuck you."
Yeah, and
fuck you little fuck.
I thought Lothar's performance there was actually really good in how he is.
Yeah, I was heartbroken for him.
Because he was heartbroken, but at the same time he wasn't gonna... Because you could see it in the subtlety of his face, but it wasn't sort of no.
Yeah.
He was
holding, remain strong.
He was holding face against these orcs who were still watching him, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is why I think this guy carries the fucking Alliance side, because this guy can carry a fucking film. This guy's got great fucking acting chops. He really does, and he carries that feeling all the way past Lane's death into the Mokhtar. I don't know what the fucking Klingon thing was called.
Yeah.
All the way into the duel, right up until he fucking killed Blackhand.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and went, "That's my son, you fucking prick."
Yeah.
He kind of like keeps it all in until then. It was good stuff. And then because Medivh is so squished now, he's so
he's done.
They send him back to Karazhan, take him back to Karazhan. They try and he has this like arcane pool at the top of Karazhan, which by the looks of it replenishes powers and
kind of keeps him ticking over.
Well, you know that there's something a little bit going on, because remember when they first arrive at Karazhan and they meet Morose, Anduin Lothar says to Morose, "You aren't aged a day."
Yeah, so it might be this sort of fountain of youth thing.
Yeah, so there's maybe some sort of magic keeping them a little bit younger than they should potentially be. And I think that's when we got the first look of the Fel in his eyes.
Yeah, because he rolls his eyes and they kind of flash green, and Khadgar's like, "I need to go. I need to get out of here. I got to go and see the Kirin Tor."
Yes. But this is where the lineage of Garona comes in. or the potential lineage of Garona. Because Garona stays by Medivh as he recovers.
Yeah.
And then when he awakes, they have a little bit of a chit-chat.
Oh, this scene,
and
yeah.
Medivh talks about a love that he had. And he only refers to the love as a female. Doesn't say what species. Doesn't say what. And we know for a fact, due to the Fel corruption, that Medivh has had some connection with Draenor. And he talks about this love that he lost. And then when Garona tries to push him further, he snaps himself out of it. He gets a little bit more compos mentis. And snaps himself out of it.
See where you're going with this.
I think, this is not a guarantee. I think there is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a cast iron, but I'm just saying the fact that he talks about a mysterious female, doesn't say what race. We know for a fact that he has links with Draenor because he also states later on, I don't know what I've been doing. He's clearly lost so much time.
Yeah.
Where he's been controlled by the Fel energies. He says when he remembers the connection between the two, the opening up the portals from this side.
But there's all sorts of other things.
There's all sorts of other stuff. He's just like, I don't know what I've done. And there is the potential that Medivh might in fact be, in this universe, Garona's father. Maybe.
Now, would that, because I'm a little bit unfamiliar with the story of the Guardians, would that be similar to, is it Medan that they retconned out as the Guardian? Was he half orc?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I think that might play a little bit of a parallel, but it's a good theory, nice little tinfoil hat theory.
I mean, I'm quite happy to say it's a tinfoil hat theory at the moment, but it was just kind of like there was definitely something more to that story.
Yeah.
It could be that Khadga's his son. It could be something completely like that.
Yeah.
But I just think the way that it was using Garona, why would Garona be the sounding board for this chat? Just kind of made me think, have they kind of like switched this? Because I think in lore, an orc raped a Draenei.
Yeah.
And that's where Garona came from. And I think they might be switching this to maybe Medivh and an orc female.
Yeah, it's a good theory.
Can't
argue it for now.
It's a theory.
I'm sure the comments below will disagree.
They're already calling me a wanker to shut up. Hundreds of them.
We love you, comments.
Yeah, I don't.
No, you don't.
I really don't. I don't understand half of you. I don't understand why half of you are alive. But yeah, this is when this is where Khadga starts to unravel the kind of storyline. Sorry, when I say storyline, I mean he starts to unravel what's been going on with Khadga's Kargath's Medivh.
Steady.
Medivh has been one who's been who opened up the dark portal and let the orcs form the link between the two worlds and this kind of stuff. So it kind of has some attachment to the original lore from there.
Yeah, so he runs off to Dalaran.
He runs off to Dalaran, and the most confusing part of the film, the most confusing part of the film
ensues.
Can you explain this to me? Because this is where I was like, what?
Are we talking about the black box with the door?
We're talking about, here's a black box.
Yeah,
here's a black box which opens up. Here's a black box which opens up and has a woman in it. Here's a black box that opens up and has a woman in it that gives exposition. Here's a black box is gone.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, they went off on a bit of a tangent with that one. I was half expecting there to be a Naru inside of that. I
didn't have a fucking clue. I thought there was going to be some fucking chocolates in it. It looked like a fucking black magic box or something.
That's a very good way of... not sure how that translates internationally, but that's a very good way of selling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Box and milk tray for anime. It was just kind of like this huge chocolate box. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was like a chocolate Easter egg inside or something.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like... okay, we saw the remnant of the woman when Khadgar first went to Karazhan,
Yeah.
but she had no kind of like other bearing. Who was she? I kind of like missed the name, so I couldn't look her up lore-wise.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can see her in the IMDb list, and I can't at the moment.
She looked like Glenn Close. I do recall
Is she?
that.
Yeah, I think it is Glenn Close.
Oh, is it Glenn Close?
Yeah, Elodie is the name.
Oh, right, okay. So it did look like Glenn Close. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, she's got a fucking bunny in a pot there.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like really kind of confused by all this. Because when he said I'm off to Dalaran, I just thought he was going to go to Dalaran and say, fuck me, the Guardian is Tirisfal Glades, but for the fact that people don't know certain locations, we're just going to refer to him in this film as the Guardian.
Yeah.
The Guardian is corrupted with a foul Adonitis, or whoever that means.
Adonitis, yeah, he goes and says that something's wrong.
Yeah, what should we do? I wasn't expecting him to turn up and then, I understood them going, oh, you fucking left, piss off.
Yeah.
You're, because we do know that Khadgar is an outcast.
Yeah, he renounces his vows.
Yeah, he wanted to get laid. No, he renounced his vows. So I understand them going, well, what are you doing here? And then, of course, he was going to go, oh, no, the Guardian is fell corrupted. What should we do? I wasn't expecting them to turn around and go, would you like one of the world's biggest chocolates? Because we've got the box right over there. But, it's kind of like, this is the one point in the film where I was just like, what? Now, apparently, one of the commenters in my spoiler-free video yesterday said that apparently there is like an hour extra on the director's cut.
An hour?
Allegedly, there's about an hour of extra stuff.
Well, I hope it explains that.
Cut, which might, with an extra hour going into the film, it might explain other stuff. But this was just a complete
blindside.
Scratch my head moment. I don't get this. I don't understand this one bit. And this is from a WoW person, so never mind the late. And I think it makes sense now from what I've seen of impartial reviews, and when I say impartial reviews, I mean by people who've never played Warcraft.
Yeah.
One of the reoccurring things that I did hear was towards the end, something happens and we're just like, what? What is going on?
So you reckon that's it?
I'm pretty damn sure it's Dalaran.
Yeah.
We're wondering what the fuck that Dalaran scene was about.
But it doesn't matter because Dalaran looks awesome.
Oh, it looked amazing. For the very brief bit that we saw of it.
The wide shot of the city. Through the
I
clouds.
I like the fact it's already in the clouds. I don't give a fuck that it should have been on the ground. I don't give a toss.
Well, that's how you know where it is.
Yeah. Where's Dalaran? It's fucking in the air. I thought it was over. No, it's not. It's fucking in the. I thought it was by Lordra. No, it's not. It's in the fucking air.
It's not. There's a big hole there now.
But yeah, I'm happy. I'm sort of like, that scene didn't need to be in this film.
I do think you're right.
The film would have made sense if you took that out and even took the image out.
I guess so. The only thing it does do is kind of give, because what she says is to the extent of it kind of builds Khadgar's confidence in himself and says that you're stronger than you know.
Well, to me, the only thing that did was tell Khadgar to say, from light comes dark and from dark comes light, because you need to say that at the end to save Medivh.
Well, yeah.
He dies. That is all that we got from that fucking box. He could have read it in a book.
Yeah, I think he does read it in a book.
Or even, to be honest with you, probably even better, Medivh says it to him.
Yeah.
At some point.
I do think you could have cut out the middleman there.
But Dalaran could have, maybe, and I say this with love, Duncan, I promise you I say this with love, maybe they thought we might only get one shot at this, because of all the stigma attached to video game movies and such, and the kind of very snobbish reaction, oh, it's a video game movie, it must be shit.
Yeah.
Maybe there was an element of, we might only get one shot at this, let's get Dalaran in somehow.
Yeah, that's a very good. I mean, it's such an iconic image, isn't it? Especially for Warcraft.
Oh, it's an amazing image. I'd love to have that poster. Just imagine a big, ultra-wide poster of that. It would have looked so cool.
Yeah.
But it was something that was unnecessary, but maybe it was there because we might only get one shot at this, and in which case,
got to get it in.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. But it's the one thing, I think I mentioned it in my video yesterday. I was kind of like, I'm really confused. Or this could be one of those threads which I mentioned at the beginning of the vid about potentially leading elsewhere in further films. If you prefer to get sequels, it would start to make more sense.
Yeah, if we got a cinematic universe out of this, then
This is a long game.
Yeah.
This is a long game scene as opposed to a short-term one. So yes, it ain't going to make a lot of sense in the first film, but when it suddenly starts connecting with the second film, maybe third film, it'll start to make a lot more sense.
Maybe would have done better as a post-credit scene then? Sort of out of the context of the story.
I think for the flow of the film, it should just cut.
Yeah.
Just cut. That should have been one of the cutting room floor ones. Maybe a director's cut.
Fair enough.
For that one. And then I'm pretty much going to jump towards a couple of quick things now. Durotan challenges Gul'dan.
Yes. Big moment.
Big moment.
So Orgrim has a change of heart and breaks out Durotan, who's been captured because they decide to...
After Gul'dan's wiped out the Frostwolf.
Yeah, and Draka gets... Orgrim gives her a head start and makes sure she gets away with little baby Greenface.
Well, Thrall to us.
Yeah.
Guel. And Durotan, who's an awesome dude, he gets his ass kicked.
He does, but I think...
by cheating?
Yeah, it's completely intentional because he knew that he could beat, weight for weight, he could probably beat Gul'dan. But knowing how strong he was in the Fel, he wanted to prove a point to everyone watching that this is a guy that will use anything to win and at any cost.
And pull down the Orc traditions in doing so. Because when... and it's a very sad moment because Durotan is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He is. He's fucking awesome in this film. And again, huge props to Toby Kebbell. You were amazing. You were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And we see Durotan die pretty nastily as well.
There's a lot of bone crunching there.
A lot of bone crunching, a lot of soul sucking. Or, if I have to use the proper Warlock terminology, soul siphoning.
But it's through a manly bear hug.
That's a soul siphon.
Yeah.
That is a fucking soul siphon spell if ever I see one. Drain soul.
Yeah.
But it looked like a soul siphon. He dies horribly. Painfully, horribly.
In front of everyone.
In front of everybody, and Orgrim's just like, you want to follow this guy? This guy. And what was really cool is throughout the course of the fight, people are going, Gul'dan's cheating!
Yeah, it's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah. So
and then it becomes all intentional, and it's just like, well, if I'm going to go proving a point.
Well, yeah. Well, he's Gul'dan didn't give a fuck. But it's quite funny, because at that moment in time, I just thought, everybody who didn't think Thrall cheated in Warlords of Draenor, he did.
He did.
He cheated big fucking time to beat Garrosh. Because he's a shit. Chris Metzen, shit. You're a
well, he was... I did notice in the credits, he's one of the co-producers.
Oh, I know, because he turns up... Yeah, he turns up on something.
Yeah.
Credited. He's also a cheat.
Yes.
You're a cheat, Metzen. You're a cheat. No. He dies horribly, and Orgrim Doomhound's just like, you want to follow this person? And then orcs start turning away and leaving Gul'dan. So Gul'dan fucking annihilates the first people that dare say anything to him.
Yeah.
And then he's just
so one of them calls him a demon.
Yeah, you want to fuck with me? And they're sort of like,
oh,
this guy's really fucking powerful though. So, and he can control the Fel because he literally sucks the Fel out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he's almost putting the orcs up for ransom then. If you were a green orc...
Yeah, you either kill humans or you get sucked.
Or you get sucked off. That doesn't sound like a bad fucking deal to me, if I put it that way.
Steady.
But it's not as good as it sounds.
We've already taken one break for you to... Yeah.
How you doing? How you doing, Paula? Call me. So we kind of get them now sort of not reluctantly, but kind of begrudgingly, maybe.
Yeah.
Following Gul'dan, and then the Alliance are plotting an attack on the Dark Portal to free the humans.
Yeah, they appear on the front line.
And Medivh, who we know is on the turn, says, I'm going to go back to Karazhan and wait at the Dark Portal. Now, when he says wait at the Dark Portal, he literally means wait at the Dark Portal because he's going to switch the portal from Draenor to Stormwind.
Yeah.
Is the plan.
And turns it into an evacuation.
That's what it's meant to be, an evacuation, but he turns it into an invasion because actually he opens up the portal to Draenor. Because the portal's not active, so it's meant to activate to Stormwind, but it activates to Draenor. Because of course Medivh is taken over by demon.
Yeah,
we're not aware of which demon it is. It's not hinted at or intimated that it's Sargeras.
Yeah, because that kind of they don't quite go for the lore.
It's a fell corruption and it's definitely a demon. But I'm kind of glad they didn't try and shoehorn in a lot of Legion stuff. I'm kind of glad in a way, and I'm glad in a way not because I don't want to see the Legion. I'm really excited to see the Legion.
Yeah.
But I think it would have overcomplicated what is already a pretty complicated plot.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I got a little bit sour about the fact that they didn't quite explain how he suddenly switched from good to bad. After his eyes turned a little bit green, he goes quite full on. He's
possessed. I mean, from what I got from it, he's possessed. But the demon chooses when he wants to take over.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, isn't it? But without the control.
So he was kind of like, I can't constantly, take him over because he would be aware something is completely amiss.
Yeah.
If I do it in a sporadic manner, then we can get a little bit of stuff done.
Yeah. So we have Khadgar and Anduin Lothar.
Anduin, who's been imprisoned because he's
got a bit drunk and upset.
Yeah, because his son died.
Yeah.
And shouted at Medivh.
Yeah, and actually, this leads on to one of the funniest moments as a mage that I found in the film.
The whole cinema burst out laughing.
Yeah, it was absolute genius. So he's sort of Pirates of the Caribbean style, trying to convince this guard that, okay, I've sobered up now. I've calmed down. I just need
shaking his head no.
Yeah, he's like, nope, can't do it. And then bang, guard gets polymorphed into a sheep. And on a side note, I've just looked up the IMDb page, and the sheep is called One Take Charlie.
Nice.
Stunning name for a sheep.
Because it only took one take, it was that good. But did you hear what Khadgar said after the polymorph?
Yeah, it'll only last a minute and it only works on the weak-minded.
Yeah, it's just like he read the fucking spell description for polymorph.
Giggled. Yeah, as a mage, that was just... I could have walked out then and I would have been satisfied that I'd seen a Warcraft film.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was a good moment of levity as well, because it had been so serious for so long.
Yeah, it was a good bit of punctuation with the comedy.
Yeah, nice bit of levity to be brought. Not levity. Yeah, no. It's a nice bit of humour to be brought in.
Yeah.
Levity moment. Lifted it up. Yeah. So go on, carry on.
So we then it's like we've Anduin's like, we got to go and save the king, and Khadgar's like, no, first we have to go and deal with Medivh because the world is more important than one man. And I thought that's quite a nice little moment because...
It's a nice bigger picture moment.
Yeah.
It's because, put it this way, if it was a typical generic hero black and white film, it's let's save the king.
Yeah.
And then you save the king and you defeat the army. Then you turn up and fight Medivh.
Yeah.
But this again is a shade of grey moment.
And he has to make a choice.
The Star Trek moment of the many outweigh the needs of the many outweigh.
Yeah, and there's this is actually a bit parallels to a moment back in Blackrock where just before the barrier goes up, Anduin's in the middle of the fight, and on one side he's got his son who's handling himself and he's fine, and on the other side he's got the king, and he chooses to go to the king, and that's where they get divided by the barrier because he chooses the king over his son through duty.
I mean, yes, duty. His son also said, "Guard the king."
Yeah,
I've got it covered. But he had the confidence in his son to leave him, and he was right because his position was on the side of the king.
But I think it was a nice to give him a choice to then, okay, but the king isn't the be all and end all, and we've got to deal with Medivh first.
Yeah.
So they end up in Karazhan again.
With a poor dead Morose who's been sucked off.
Yeah. Yes. So
there's a lot of sucking off in this film.
there is. Yeah, there is. Oh, you warlocks do like to. So anyway,
that's how we roll. That's how we roll.
So they confront Medivh, get their asses handed to them, end up hiding behind the golem.
Yeah, he brings the golem to life with the.
Yeah.
It didn't quite turn into an infernal.
No, he was a fell golem.
It was a fell golem. Yeah.
Give you that. And a fight ensues, which wasn't my favourite fight, but it was pretty cool. We got Anduin Lothar wrestling with this golem and sort of proving that it doesn't matter how big he is, the dude's still got a neck. He ends up using this clay wire to slice the head off this golem.
Yes,
which I thought was and then you get that moment where Khadgar's like, that was a good idea, and he's like, yeah. totally planned that.
Because the golem's doing the incantation to keep the portal open.
Yeah.
Because Medivh's mind is obviously in conflict with the demon, and
so it's not a consistent chant. So
he passes it through to the golem, who starts to chant it. Da, da, da. So he cuts the head off. He's got no mouth.
Yeah.
He can't do the incantation.
And then
it's not the greatest. Yeah, you're right there. It's not the greatest of. I'm not gonna bullshit here.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest of fights in there. It had some good moments, but there was sort of a weird cut. There was a weird cut in editing here where Anduin, what looked like Khadgar had been like twatted by Medivh, and Anduin had like the golem to contend with, and then in the next cut they were both like hidden behind a pillar.
So I had to pay attention to that bit and kind of go over it in my mind because it was weirdly edited. What happened is, I think Khadgar was protecting himself with a bubble.
Yeah.
Anduin was sort of controlling the golem with the clay wire thing.
Yeah.
And then the golem smashes through the wall behind Khadgar and sort of hits the bubble and knocks it down. And then they both end up falling down into the sort of the side bit. And that's how they both end up down there. So it was kind of the Khadgar got sideswiped by the golem but didn't get hurt because his bubble just moved. And then they tag team out and they swap adversaries for a little bit, which is quite cool.
Okay.
So we've got Khadgar versus the golem. He backs him into a corner. Obviously the golem can't see, so he's just sort of flailing about.
He's got no fucking head!
Khadgar starts drawing his teleportation thing on the ground, which obviously takes time. Again, cast times, which I like the detail.
Yeah.
And Lothar's sort of, trying to just distract Medivh from this incantation, which does flicker a couple of times. And then it's sort of Khadgar's like, get him into the pool, just get him into the pool so I know where he is.
Yeah.
And then this great moment where Khadgar teleports the golem above the...
We had a nice emotional moment before then.
Oh, yeah.
Where Lothar addresses Medivh and addresses Medivh's humanity.
Yeah.
And for a brief moment,
It flickers.
Yeah, he manages to just very briefly break the concentration of the demon before it's restored. But it just showed that Medivh was in there fighting desperately to try and regain control.
Yeah. So he goes full on metamorphosis demon form.
Yes.
And starts walking.
And looked awesome, I thought.
Yeah, he did look pretty cool. He looked a lot like the Sargeras concept art, which is why I kind of thought, oh, maybe they are hinting at that.
I thought he looked like Kill Jaden. Kind of like a mini Kill Jaden.
Yeah, that kind of Eridar sort of style.
Yeah, he's definitely an Eridar. Yeah.
So we get him walking towards him through the foul corrupted pool, and then bang, Khadgar drops the whole golem on his head, which I thought that's quite a crude way of dealing with the Guardian, but yeah,
it worked.
It did work.
I found this. I found this whole thing rather emotional. I really did, because I loved the conflict of Medivh.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he wasn't evil at all to begin with. And I love the fact that he realised he was in trouble, and that's where he tells Khadgar, "You've got to save the king." He's trying to make sure that he does what he can before he's completely perverted, before he's completely enslaved by the demon, before he's twisted and can't do, think or act for himself. And again, it's another shade of grey moment. It wasn't just a typical villain. He wasn't a villain.
No, he was a victim.
Everything that he did at the beginning, when he was helping at the beginning, that was him. That was him being genuine. That was, everything that he did was not the demon.
No, he was being Super Jesus.
He was just doing his job as the Guardian and desperate to protect Azeroth. And you've got King Lane and everyone fighting at the Dark Portal.
Yeah, freeing people.
Freed a lot of slaves, but you've got these, obviously, more orcs pouring into the Dark Portal. Yeah. And then you just get this wonderful moment. I got very emotional at this moment. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm broken on the inside. I don't know. But I had this very emotional moment where Medivh's dying, and he's got these little arcane tears.
Yeah.
Coming down his face, and he starts to talk. And you know that he is not doing any sort of demonic incantations.
No, he's back in control.
You know whatever he's doing now, it's the Guardian related. And he manages to change the Dark Portal. He manages to change it from a link to Draenor to a link to Stormwind. And we got a lot of the slaves managed to get back to Stormwind. Yeah. And I just got quite emotional because I thought he's regained control.
And the first thing he does is...
he knows he's dying. He knows he doesn't have long left to live. And he's desperate to fulfill his duty as the Guardian.
Yeah.
And he's desperate to try and save as many people as he possibly can before he does. And that's when I thought Ben Foster, that's when I really thought Medivh was a fucking amazing character, because that also said to me, because this is not necessarily Ben Foster out the franchise, because if you know Warcraft, of course, you know that he comes back as the Prophet.
Yeah.
And he's the one that tries to warn about the...
Yeah, in Warcraft 3, isn't it?
Yeah, he comes back as the Prophet, and he's desperate to find people. So there is a sort of, Ghost Jedi potential role in the future for Ben Foster, which I'd love to see.
Yeah, I would actually. I think his character was quite slow to start, or slow in the middle. I think he had
slow to start. I think
but towards the end, I think he really did deliver what I was expecting from him.
And then we had again, another wee bit of a confusing moment to end with, but it didn't affect any of my enjoyment or fun, was Blackhand attempts to kill Lane. He's making a beeline for Lane because he needs to kill him in front of his people and be like, I'm the war chief, I've killed the king.
So to sort of set up this hopelessness, Medivh dies, the portal collapses, leaving a really heartbreaking moment where there are people about to walk through, slaves about to walk through the portal, and it just shuts off. Yeah. And on the other side, orcs trying to get through to them from the other side of the portal, and there's no hope. There's nothing there.
No, they just get cut down. Just get immediately cut down.
And that goes from I'm saved to nope,
I'm dead.
That's it.
I'm dead.
Which I thought was a great little moment.
Yeah, so King Lane said that was a heartbreaking moment. There's a lot of heartbreak in this film. This is an earnest film.
Yeah.
I say it with a few films. This is definitely one of them. This is an earnest film.
Without a doubt.
And I say that with affection. I don't say as a criticism. And King Lane's just like, Garona, you can't let him kill me. You can't let Blackhand kill me. If there's going to be peace, if he kills me, there'll never be peace between humans and orcs.
Well, yeah, the point he makes is that, you'll die too if you don't kill me and prove yourself.
I don't think
that's what he said. He said that there's no point both of us dying. If you kill me, they'll respect you.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, she will die if Blackhand kills the king. He'll kill Garona.
Yeah.
But what he was saying is, if I die to Blackhand die, or this is how I saw it anyway,
okay.
I could be wrong. But he was saying, if I die at the hands of Blackhand, Stormwind are never going to forgive the orcs. They are never going to work towards peace. They are never going to look for any kind of relationship between these people. They will just go to war. Yeah. They will get everybody, and this will just go to full-out war. But if you kill me, then you are bridging, because you've already made the bridge with us as humans.
Yeah.
You're also gonna create another bridge between the orcs and the humans.
Yeah, I guess that's another valid interpretation.
So that's how I personally interpreted it.
Yeah.
And then reluctantly, because Grona's just like bawling like a trooper. Reluctantly, she kills Lane in what is quite a heartfelt death.
Because you kind of, the camera pans round from Lane and you just see her hand grab his forehead, and he just sort of closes his eyes and
he makes peace. He's
like, accepted it.
Yeah, he's like, good. She's gonna do it, and then she knifes him with a dagger that his King Lane's wife. Ruth had actually given to Ruth, not being of course the name Ruth, the actress. Taria being the wife, had actually given Garona to protect herself. So the irony, of course, is the knife that the king's wife gave to Garona killed the king with. And that again, it's a little twist on the lore. Garona does kill King Lane in lore. But she does it under the influence of Gul'dan.
Yeah, and I thought that's where they were
hoping that Gul'dan was going to take her mind during the fight.
Yeah, I was prepared for that as well, and I was kind of like, well, that makes sense in the context as much as what they went with.
Yeah, to me, the story that it was telling, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And then Anduin arrives, too late.
Yeah.
We see one of the king's guards who's I don't think said a lot in the film, if anything, have his neck summarily broken by an orc picking him up and
just crushing his neck.
Yeah, see you later.
There's a lot of mountain versus the viper moments in this.
Yes, there's a lot of fucking mountains, not just one, I'll tell you.
No.
And it looks like it's just a matter of time until these soldiers all die.
Yeah.
And then Lothar comes in. They're lauding Garona because she's killed the king.
Yeah, and they're passing around Lane's body.
Passing it, rather, again, that's a bit of a horrible image, but they're sort of like chucking the king's body up in the air and stuff. It's like, oh man, that is rough. And I felt some of these moments I'm thinking, fuck me, that's rough.
Yeah.
But in a good, earnest sort of a way, in a what would happen kind of a way. It's just like, they really kind of went for some some
cultural
kind of realism.
development.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
kind of cultural realism. He's not. Anduin's knocked out pretty much on arrival. Wakes up. Black Hand's just like, it's fighting time.
Yeah, he's everyone's in a circle. It becomes
And the good thing about, one thing that I've got to say about Black Hand, in kind of in a positive light, because he's not a nice guy.
No.
But he does have an incredible sense of duty, so much so that even during the Durotan and Gul'dan duel, he's just like, I ain't got fucking time for this during the fight.
Yeah.
Fucking kill him. And Black Hand's just like,
No.
He looks at the banner. He looks at the banner of the duel.
Yeah.
The Mokpa. I don't know. And he's just like, no.
Yeah, it's your fight,
tradition.
mate.
This is tradition, you fight.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, that endeared me a little bit, without being too much, obviously. But endeared me a little bit to Black Hand.
In the sense that above all the...
Yeah, this is a guy who believes in honour and believes in duty, and maybe had a little bit more honour then before he got corrupted by Gul'dan, a little bit later. So in that respect, that Black Hand is going to adhere to the rules of this duel.
Yeah.
And it is the quickest duel, and unfortunately you've also seen it in the fucking trailers, which pissed me off.
Yeah.
Where they literally just charge at each other. Lothar slides under his body and cuts his cock off.
Yeah. Poor lad.
Theon Greyjoy's the bastard.
You beat me to the Game of Thrones reference. It reminded me of the duel outside of Marine with what's his face? What's his name? The
son.
Yeah, the Bravosi guy, not the Bravosi guy. Oh, the duel where he throws the knife at the horse's eye and then just cuts the guy in half.
Yes.
Big build-up.
You had this big build-up, and he literally just like cuts his dick. Literally, I genuinely think he cut his dick off.
Yeah, he did. Short of something rolling away from under him, you pretty much saw that.
I think that was dick, sack, and gooch all slit, and then fucking knifed him in the back.
Yeah.
Very quick duel, and then he just goes, and that's for my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, ooh, I like that. And then he walks off, and Gul'dan's just like, kill him!
Yeah.
Kill him! And Garona's just like,
you can't.
Gul'dan, you can't kill him. If your people are to respect you, you have to honour tradition. So she's already building a bridge for the orcs.
And actually, this is a point very quickly, sort of going back to all the warlords. This is where you see Grom and Kargath standing next to each other, because it's them that Gul'dan turns to. Is like, kill him. It's your turn. You go kill him. And they're like, no.
Right.
You see them very clearly. He's got Gorehowl in his hand.
Right.
You see I was very fleeting.
Busy. I was too busy, obviously linked to something else.
Yeah.
Probably crying.
Yeah, you were just in bits.
I was just in pieces by then, because because we didn't even talk about, obviously, fucking hell, I'm so sorry, because Draka escaped, but she got killed.
Yeah.
She managed to get, Thrall down the river, but she got caught, she got killed.
Yeah.
Ate somebody, but got knifed in the process.
Knifed in the process.
So towards the end of the film, we get a lot of death.
Yeah, there's not many people left.
No, Callum dies, Medivh dies, Durotan dies,
Draka
dies, King Lane dies. There's a lot of casualties coming up towards the end of this film. And suddenly, this kind of fantasy film, which, yes, was earnest and was playing out, had severe consequence.
Yeah, and I think that's looking back on it now, you do see that kind of that real heartfelt level of this shit got serious.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean,
there is
this
a genuine
why I
impact.
said
It's not
this is
just
a hot, it's fast, it's frantic, it's furious, it's heartbreaking, it's emotional, because there are lots of different emotions with this film, and
Yeah.
maybe it's because I'm a Warcraft fan, I can't say for absolutely sure, but because I have had such an investment in the world, I defy anybody who loves the Warcraft franchise not to get emotional at certain aspects of this film with
Yeah.
the characters, being killed off and stuff, because they are really good characters. And then we end with the kind of the death of King Lane, the funeral of King Lane, which we've all seen outside of Stormwind.
Yeah, the forming of the alliance.
And the forming of the alliance, although not a single night elf.
No, there was on the...
Was there?
Yeah, so you had the dwarves on one side in the front row and the night elves on the other. They were only the ambassadors, and they were kind of looking around going, do we really want to do this? Is this really our problem? But I think that will be developed more in when if they cover in a sequel the Warcraft 3 stuff, because obviously you've got the invasion of the Burning Legion and everything that happens at Hyjal.
Well, there are notable changes to lore, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think lore-wise, Black Hand killed Anduin Lothar. Lore-wise, he killed him...
yeah, the Battle of...
Rock.
Yeah. And then...
So this was a role reversal.
Yeah.
Where Black Hand was actually killed by Anduin Lothar. So this alternative Azeroth has a couple of little changes there.
Yeah, let's not go into alternative timelines when it comes down to...
do want to say a notable mention, by the way.
Yeah.
There was a female female high elf with great tits.
No comment.
I know your wife's around here somewhere. There's like a delegate of 3 high elves, two old bastards, and this one female.
Yeah, just a cosplay elf.
And she was like, "Hello.
Would you like to take another break? Shall I just put some like elevator music in there?
Yeah, just put some elevator music in. I'll be. But when I saw that, I was just like, "Fuck me!" That was a total slut play there. Right there.
Yeah. Honourable mentions aside.
Honourable mentions aside. Apart from the high elves, great tip. No, I mean seriously though, I loved it. I genuinely loved the film.
Yeah.
I was invested. I was connected to the world. I believed the characters. I liked the fact that there was a lot more to it depth-wise than just simple Horde bad, Alliance good.
Yeah.
I really like... Even Gul'dan had some sort of... not redeeming qualities, but even he, although for as bad as he was...
It's all for... He thought he was doing the right thing kind of thing.
Kind of. I mean... it was like, this has got to be for the survival of the orcs, and we are the powerful orcs, and all this kind of stuff. But because he's fell corrupted, and obviously there's a lot more going on with Gul'dan than we currently know about.
Yeah.
Because, we don't... He got fell corrupted, we need to know how the relationship with the Legion, all that kind of stuff. In this universe, I mean, we know it in our universe. But there's obviously a lot more to Gul'dan than going on. But he still deferred to Garona begrudgingly at the end. And he still, begrudgingly again, just continued the duel with Durotan.
Yeah.
Even though he did fucking cheat his tits off and drain his soul.
By the by.
Yeah, but there was still some elements still connecting him to his orc lineage.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is it's not as if he was just like all out,
Everybody's
yeah. Disposable, everything for my own cause. That might change as further plans come into action, and I genuinely hope they do, because I think this film deserves a trilogy at least. I think this universe deserves to develop.
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
I genuinely can't complain. Yes, there are some moments which are a bit confusing, Yes, there are a couple of not wonderful, the odd okay performance. I wouldn't say bad. I don't think anyone performed badly. The odd bit of ropey CGI where the humans looked really as if they were stood behind a green screen from time to time. But they are little foibles to me. They are little foibles. I took from the film a great story with great characters, very well directed, good screenplay. I took that from it, and I was so happy to have left the film feeling positive and buoyed, and just sort of like completely away from the game. This was a wonderful bit of Warcraft for me.
Yeah, I think going back over it with you after only seeing it once, I think it needs a second, maybe a third viewing to fully appreciate it. And going, talking through it with you, you've convinced me of its, that it is that sort of, it's almost there. That
to me, it's way more there than it isn't.
Yeah.
The odd misstep here or there. To be honest with you, this ain't The Empire Strikes Back. It ain't the perfect film.
No.
And there's a reason why they call The Empire Strikes Back the perfect film, and there is a reason why they don't call any other film really the perfect film. Because everything seems to have a couple of missteps here or there. Certainly for the when I turned up to the cinema, from what I was expecting to what I got,
it's definitely on the up.
Ecstatic.
Good.
Absolutely ecstatic. And I am a little bit frustrated by these reviews because, look, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not going to argue with somebody that says, I watched it, I didn't like it. That's because you're fully entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah, and I think your opinion, whether you like it or not, will be swayed by the fact that you are so much more invested than the average person in this story.
Absolutely. If I knew nothing about Warcraft, maybe I would have enjoyed it, but wouldn't have got out of it what I got out of it. But at the same time, like the Kotaku review, to me is, where the author is entitled to his own opinion.
He's wrong.
Not wrong.
I'm joking.
Thought it was nonsense. Yeah. He was trying to say, Warcraft's goofy, this should have been a fucking comedy, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And then spends like a whole paragraph trying to justify why he's saying the things he is. Well, I played Warcraft. I have a night elf death knight. And he just like, this guy probably stopped playing the game at the Wrath of the Lich King by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But those sort of reviews to me seem to be very agenda driven, where people are trying to make a name for themselves by doing something quite
controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fair comment.
Some people might say that's the popcorn the kettle black.
Really?
But I always talk. I've done fucking 1,200 odd videos.
Yeah.
I think people know when I'm being earnest and know when I'm dicking around. And,
yeah.
I think the Guardian interview was just a pile of fucking tripe.
There's just no context to the...
No, it was just, this was a person who was desperate to try and make some sort of connection to push his Trump. Just Trump's... Everything's about Trump.
Let's not get political.
Trump. Yeah.
Let's stay away from that.
So I am saddened by that.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
I think it deserves better, and I think what I'm trying to say is it deserves a chance.
Yeah.
So a tweet that I put out today, instead of basing your opinion on what you've heard, why don't you base your opinion on what you've seen?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will
go see it. Give it, at least if you're, put it this way, if you're invested in fantasy or if you're invested in the World of Warcraft and you're not wanting to see this film because of what you heard, Sorry, I've been talking for 2.25 hours. My fucking voice is going. If you're not going to see the film because of what you've heard, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, form your own opinion, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, form your own opinion. If you don't like fantasy and you don't like WoW,
it's not for you.
Don't see it.
But I think
if you don't like Lord of the Rings, if you don't like stuff like that, don't go fucking see it. It's not going to be the film for you. But if you are a lover of the fantasy genre, if you are a lover of Tolkien and Game of Thrones and stuff like that, This is not trying to be any of them, nor should it.
No, it fits in its own little corner.
Yeah, and I think Duncan Jones, as I said in yesterday's video as well, I absolutely believe you've done an amazing job. You should be very proud of your film. I know that I am very proud of your film.
Good.
Right, so we're gonna wrap it up there. So I hope we have literally gone on longer than the film.
Yep. Predictably.
We
do tend to waffle.
It's a podcasty type of a vid. It's all about the whiffle waffle.
Lots of cleaning got done while people listening to this.
I think many houses.
Many houses.
Well, many houses. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Grant, your link is also in the description down below, so please go and subscribe.
It is. Thanks for the plug.
Nice. Fine, you can cut me a check later.
Oh. Yeah.
Do you want to say goodbye, Grant?
Yeah, goodbye everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. So you take care, everybody. Bye-bye.